morning, and thank you for joining us. It is Tuesday, the last day of November.
Wow.
I know, that happened fast, didn't it?
Very fast.
Yeah, it was like just January, several months ago.
I know. I mean, 2020 and 2021 literally blurred together.
It did.
So it's like this 2 years in one. And then hopefully 2022 is a fresh start for a lot of reasons.
Right.
We certainly do hope.
Of course, I'm thinking of months. I'm thinking of the months in like seasons, right? So the end of November also means the end of hurricane season.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And a lot of people are like, oh, did that just like kind of like go away? Like, no, it didn't. There's just nothing been happening for the past 2 months, so it's been quiet.
It was pretty active at the beginning of hurricane season.
It was really, really active, and then all of a sudden, hurricane season was like, all right, I'm out.
Well, North Carolina dodged a lot of the big storms because
Really
we did get some big ones in other parts of the country and the world, and we just got lucky.
We did get lucky.
We did. All right, let's see how lucky we'll get by the end of the week in
I
Triad
know.
weather.
Megan's going to love this 7-day forecast. All kinds of Megan Malaris weather. Here we go. It's warming up. Of course, this weather is not doing our firefighting any favors up on Pilot Mountain. Taking a live look over downtown Greensboro this morning. Looking back at the numbers this morning, too, from yesterday. We started yesterday at 27 degrees, got up to 47 in the afternoon. So our average high right now is 56 and our average low is 36. So by all accounts, yesterday was a cooler than average day. Now today is kind of a mix of the two, right? We start below average. We were in the 20s this morning. We'll be in the upper 50s, near 60 this afternoon, likely a couple degrees above our average temperature right now of 56. And of course, the rest of the week will be above average as well. Reason for that, high pressure in control of our weather keeps us high and dry the next couple days, but it does start to move off to the east and down to the south a bit. So our winds yesterday were coming out of the northwest, bringing in some of that chilly air from the north. Now today, and over the next several days, our winds will persist out of the south and out of the west. So that brings in some of that warmth that is to be had over the deep south. Meanwhile, a little cold front, a little disturbance to our north will pass by tomorrow. Not a lot of moisture with it, so I expect all of us to stay dry. There will be some extra clouds, and there's just a low chance of a stray shower, mainly to the north of the Triad. Of course, any rain at all would be very helpful for the Pilot Mountain fires. Beneficial rainfall, though, is just not in the cards, not even over the next 7 days. And to draw some perspective here, I want to show you this new map that kind of shows you the area, or gives you an idea of the area of the Pilot Mountain fires that have burned so far. So as of last night, we don't have a new update yet this morning, but as of last night, about 573 acres had been burned. Right now, that's all contained on the mountain into the state park area. And to draw some more perspective for you here, Shoals Elementary School is just to the west of the mountain, and then down on the south side of the mountain at the base, there are several roads where there's some homes in those areas as well. Now, at this point, those homes have not been threatened, neither has the school. And hopefully that will continue. Of course, that is the goal. Of course, Pilot Knob Road, you know that it goes from all the way from the base of the mountain up to the top of the mountain. Several overlooks, several trails along that road. Of course, all of that area has been burned. Now, to what extent, we just don't know at this time. We'll have to wait till that fire gets put out and the crews can get in there and assess the damage that, of course, was caused. Meanwhile, the weather, again, not cooperating at all with firefighters, continues to be dry. We continue to have no rain. The winds continue to be gusty at times over the next few days, and that southwest wind will persist. And the reason that is such a noteworthy and headline item is that, remember yesterday, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, King, Clemens, all those areas we're starting to see and smell some of that smoke. With our winds shifting to the opposite direction now, that smoke will blow off to the north and east. So places like Stokes County, Rockingham County, south side of Virginia will likely start to see and smell some of that smoke today, and that will continue for the next couple days. Meanwhile, winds gust 20 to 25 miles per hour today, and we just need rain, but it's not in the cards and hasn't been over the last month. Normally, for the month of November, we average about 3 inches of rain. We've not even had half of an inch out at PTI this month so far, so we will end things on an extremely dry note. Meanwhile, back here at home today, it's a mostly sunny day of weather with that gusty southwest breeze. Upper 50s for the afternoon. Tonight, back around freezing for most of us in the Piedmont, and pretty much the same story in the west and in the foothills and mountains as well. 7-day forecast has more ups than downs right now. Ending November on a mild note, starting December on a mild note too, with some extra clouds near 60 on Wednesday. We're in the mid-60s on Thursday, upper 60s, and approaching 70 on Friday, but that's the tip-top of the roller coaster. And then everything kind of comes back down, right? We know how this goes. Mid-60s on Saturday. Saturday's a gorgeous day of weather. Mid-60s and sunshine. We add in some extra clouds. We'll be back in the 50s by Sunday. And even though you see some low-end chances for rain there on Sunday and Monday, That's not really going to be beneficial rainfall at all, likely less than 1/4 of an inch over those 2 days.
Right, in 4 days, it's taken dozens of crews and thousands of your thoughts and prayers to get to this point, but finally, some progress in the firefighting efforts at Pilot Mountain.
Yeah, and weather conditions are so dry right now. The state actually put a burn ban in place yesterday, and that goes until further notice, of course, issued by the North Carolina Forest Service.
Sounds like that was more than necessary to do that. Let's check in with Itanese McMiller. She is live in Surry County. Itanese, earlier you were commenting about how thick the smoke is today.
Yes, we have since then moved locations. So as you can see, where we are currently, there is still a haze and a bit of smoke that we're seeing at the top of Pilot Mountain. But as mentioned, we are starting to see some progress, and we have heard from a ranger with the North Carolina Forestry Service. He's telling us that they do finally have a handle on this fire. That's great news. That's something we have not heard since this fire began on Saturday. You know, they didn't have the resources nor the water to fight the fire where it currently was, so they had to wait until it reached the bottom of the mountain, and they are saying that that's what they're dealing with now. They're starting their firing operations now that the fire has made its way to the bottom. It's in those fire containment lines, so now they can go ahead and get to work to make some progress, and as mentioned, they are starting to do that as we speak. Crews are being briefed right now, and they'll head back up with the mountain to continue fighting the fire with fire. So we are looking to get an update at about 10 a.m. When they get their scout plane up in the air to see where this fire is, just how much damage has been caused. Because even though we do have some updates, some positive updates, there has been quite a bit of damage caused, 500 acres worth, and fire officials say they do expect to see about 900 acres worth of damage. So we will have an update in our later newscast just on how much land has been impacted from this fire that has now been going on for 4 days. For now, live here in Pilot Mountain, Itanese McMiller, WFMY News 2.
All right, so we did have some pictures we wanted to show you, some that you are sharing with us. This one taken around 5:30 yesterday afternoon, and you can see in this shot the iconic portion of the mountain. The knob is still there, though it is burning. And we certainly, just thinking about everyone in that community. We have another photo here taken along Old Winston Road in Pinnacle, North Carolina. Heavy, thick smoke stretching across the mountain in the distance.
Yeah, so certainly glad to hear about the progress being made. Christian, you think likely they were able to make some progress because the winds died down a bit overnight?
Right, you know, last night, we had gusty winds 20 to 25 miles per hour yesterday, and then last night, overnight, winds settled pretty much, almost to nothing, or at the most about 5 miles per hour sustained. So that, of course, helps, even though it's so dry and so cold and we have no rain. Once that wind relaxes, it actually is a really huge aid and huge help to those firefighters. Now, of course, the backstory and the other side of that story today is that the winds will kick up again. So we likely gust around 20 to 25 miles per hour today. Tonight they relax a bit. So nighttime is where it seems like they're able to gain some ground now because we're less windy at night.
Right, and I think, the misconception is, someone's at the base of the mountain throwing water on it, and that's not how these firefighters are fought or won. It really is the long game here.
It is.
And you mentioned earlier, clearing out that brush with boulders, getting, a containment line set up so that you can fight fire with fire.
Fight it with fire. And the other thing, I think a lot of people don't understand is a lot of this isn't able to be fought on foot right now just because of the terrain on the mountain. This is all on the mountain itself. So a lot of the water is being delivered, most of it actually right now is being delivered by airplane and by helicopter and aircraft, and they can't do that at night. So I think those helicopters and planes start to come back in around 10 o'clock this morning. So those efforts, of course, while the wind relaxes at night, they kind of do some of that dirty work by carving out those lines and using the bulldozers and different machinery. And now during the day, they'll fly those planes back in and dump water, but they can't do that at night.
Right.
Well, hopefully with the containment lines established, they can finally make some real headway here. The big issue is too, aside from the wind, is all the leaves that are on the ground. I mean, in the past couple weeks, we've really seen these leaves fall off the trees. We haven't had much rain, so they are just fueling this fire. Right,
they're so dry, and of course, leaves are so light, especially when they're dry. And all it takes right now, a lot of people have been asking, what started this fire. And I think it's pretty much clear now that there's some kind of human intervention here that got this fire started.
Right.
We hadn't had any storms, we hadn't had any lightning, but even something as small as like a small ember, once it hits a leaf, if wind picks up one of those leaves and takes it away, I mean, you can easily get something like this. And that of course, again, is why that burn ban went into place, because not only this is burning, we also saw those hot spots on Saratown Mountain reignite. There were also some fires in other parts of the state as well, up in Watauga County, up in the Boone and Blowing Rock area. So it doesn't take a lot with this kind of weather.
Right. It's very clear that people are thinking of people near the Pilot Mountain area, in Shoals and other communities in Surrey County. A lot of people are saying, you know, like Debbie, she said it's so sad to see Pilot Mountain burning. We also heard from Preston, who said we need rain. It hasn't rained in forever. And the little 20% chance we have in the forecast tomorrow might not even get to Pilot Mountain.
Might not.
Yeah. Sheila said prayers going up for residents in and around Pilot Mountain. And Kim said praying for Pilot Mountain area, the people, and thank God for no deaths.
I will say this too, and actually as I'm seeing this, Scott just actually asked this question. He wanted to know if Pilot Mountain burned several years ago, and it did, back in 2012.
Yep.
And yesterday morning, if you were watching the Good Morning Show, we had Dwayne Young, our weather spotter up in Stokes County, on with us, and he said, you know, it's eerie to see because yes, the 2012 fires were bad, but these look so much worse because it's basically a ring of fire around the mountain, and when they talk about letting it burn down the mountain, that's what's happening. You just kind of see this ring expanding down the mountain. But I'll say this too, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, rest in peace, Pilot Mountain, it was a good run. But that's really not the thing that we should be saying, because the mountain is not gone, right? And
neither is the knob.
Right. And wildfires do happen. They're not as common here as they are in other places, but they do happen, and we will be back hiking Pilot Mountain. We will be back enjoying its beauty and its views someday. It'll take a little while, hopefully sooner than later, but we'll be back up there. This is not the end of the mountain.
Fires can actually be beneficial.
They can.
In fact, that's why since the 2012 fire, they have done controlled burns periodically over the years. And if you hike there regularly, like my family does, you see the evidence of those controlled burns. And there's a strategy behind that to get rid of some of this brush and dead trees, foliage that fuels these fires that can get out of control. So they have the practice at containing the fires. They do this all the time. And now they're putting that practice to use fighting a legitimate wildfire.
Right, and we've heard Jimmy Holt with the Forest Service that we've been interviewing over the last couple days say that over the past few years they have done some of those prescribed burns, and at this point there was not a whole lot they could do, and actually that was kind of the one saving grace, or the one factor that was helping them out, was those prescribed burns they had done in years past. They said that was actually kind of the good piece of the puzzle that they had done.
Right, and of course after this puzzle is solved, the next one will be, you know, determining maybe who, because you mentioned human involvement in this, maybe they will be able to determine that. But again, their focus right now is just containing it and getting it completely and fully under control, and then that investigation will begin.
Yeah, sure will.
All right.
Bobby said, don't give up on Pilot Mountain. She will recover. And Debbie added, the beauty will return as God replenishes the earth.
That's right.
Amen.
All right, let's get to our headlines, and then we have another talker coming up, that one about the Panthers. But first, the World Health Organization says the Omicron COVID variant has the potential to pose a very high global risk. Researchers in South Africa first confirmed this variant. President Joe Biden said it's one of concern, but not of panic. Later this week, the White House will lay out a plan to fight COVID this winter with vaccinations and more testing. You can also expect an update from Governor Roy Cooper and his COVID task force today. At 3, state health leaders will talk about the trends in our state as they show some upticks heading into winter. We'll let you know what comes out of that meeting online. You can also watch it streaming live on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Well, today, Winston-Salem-Forsyth County School Board members will review their mask policy. The state requires all school districts to revisit mask mandates monthly. Right now, Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools requires masks in every school building. Doors open at 4 o'clock to the meeting tonight. The first 30 people who sign up for public comment in person will get 1 minute to speak. We'll keep you updated with the district's decision. Today, Tiger Woods is expected to hold his first news conference since being seriously injured in a car crash earlier this year. Woods spoke with Golf Digest ahead of the news conference, where he told reporters he would no longer play golf full time. He said instead he will enter tournaments when he's available and when he feels well enough to do so, also when he is completely recovered. So the Carolina Panthers making headlines a lot in North Carolina lately, but this one really hurts.
Yeah.
Our star running back, Christian McCaffrey, out for the season. He injured his ankle during Sunday's game.
Yeah, not a moment anybody wanted to see or hear about. So we want to know, how do you feel about the rest of the season now that our star player is on injured reserve? Drop a comment below while we give you the backstory here. The Panthers made the announcement yesterday. McCaffrey had an ankle injury during Sunday's game against Miami. The Panthers said an MRI yesterday morning revealed the injury was severe enough to place McCaffrey on injured reserve. Players placed on injured reserve must sit out at least 3 weeks, which means McCaffrey will miss out on the Panthers' final regular season games after the bye week.
So fans are, of course, wishing him well, but they're also weighing in on what this injury could mean for the team. We heard from Gary, who said first of the season, there was a stat that he had only played 6 games out of the last 28 the team had played. Awesome player, but we use him too much. We also heard from Dean, who said, at this point, I don't think it really matters. Joshua said he needs to demand a trade to a team that can offer him better protection and a second running back to split touches with. And then we heard from Steven, who said, man, he just can't stay healthy. Well, I feel bad for Christian McCaffrey. He loves the game. You can tell that his energy is contagious. He always gets, you know, not only the fans all pumped up, but he gets his players, his teammates excited for the game. I think he wants everyone to love it just as much as he does. And so to see him go out on these injuries is just hard because he wants to play. He wants to be on in every play, but you just can't do that to your body, especially something as high contact like football. I mean, you're literally getting flung around, trying to make your way through tight spaces, being pulled on like every, you know, body, arm ligament that you have.
Every limb.
Your neck, your head. I mean, it's just a lot for one's body.
It is. You know, you watch it on TV or in the stands, and I'm coming at it from this perspective. Saturday I was at the App State game.
Right.
And I was on, my tickets Saturday were on the field, like right next. So
nice.
I saw, you know, all the touchdowns happening right. I saw everything happening right in front of my eyes. You know, you can watch it in the stands and even at college level, watch it on the field or in the stands or on TV. But until you're like right there, you never realize how hard these folks, hard these guys are hitting each other and how fast they're moving. And obviously on a completely different level when you move to the NFL. And that right there shows you, I mean, there was one tackle, one sack on Saturday's game at App, and I was like, you know what, they really do hit each other pretty hard here. And so you take that to the next level in the NFL and you realize, you know, how much these guys are going through when they get hit and when they, you know, make a tackle like that.
Right.
Yeah. Bobby pointed out he's one of the best players in the entire NFL. I agree, and I think often he's underappreciated as far as the league goes. Panthers fans certainly know how good he is and want him to play, and I feel like every season we go into it saying, please just don't let Christian McCaffrey get hurt. Please don't let Christian get hurt. And unfortunately, we've seen this outcome. I think it's time, and I'm no football expert, but I've watched enough games and heard from, you know, several of you who have already weighed in about this. It's really time for the O-line to take a step back, reset, reevaluate. Okay, what plays are we going to do? Who are our key players here? How can we play Cam Newton without Christian McCaffrey? Because we know they play so well together. They're both runners. They've perfected the art of the fake out in the past few games when we've seen them play together and made some incredible runs. I think it's time for maybe just a reset and potentially some changes. We have a couple of our key players, now McCaffrey included, Sam Darnold still out on injured reserve. So what's going to come next? How are we going to create that forward momentum for these last few games and still maybe stay in playoff contention?
I think I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think it's I mean, obviously it's a huge reassessment that needs to happen. Not just on the O-line, but also within the entire organization. I think there's some reassessment that needs to happen as far as, you know, coaching staff and all that. You know, we just need to go through everything and reassess every single piece of the puzzle and figure out what's working, what's not. You know, something may be working, but something could possibly be working better. So we need to figure out what all those things are at every single level within the Panthers organization.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to say what I was going to say.
Say it.
I think everything, there's like an omen in everything.
Yeah.
And like the screen went black behind me is like, don't say it.
Oh gosh!
Say it.
Okay.
Now you have to say it.
All right. So I was going to say.
Brace yourselves.
Well, I do feel like, some of these decisions need to be reviewed and rehandled at the top of the chain.
Yes.
In the front office.
Yep.
Stop giving away your picks. Stop it.
Right.
You need those. You need to recruit good, young, healthy players.
Yes.
So stop giving away your picks, because you're never going to build the young, healthy team you need to win some games if you keep giving away your draft picks.
I agree.
It's still there. Okay. Oh, okay. Faked me out. Faked me out. That's just an opinion.
You said it.
But,
that's
I know
good,
no one
yeah.
likes to criticize anybody but the players, but let's look at the administration. I mean, they're the ones who are making the decisions.
Yeah, I agree. I have another thought.
That's
but
why.
I'm gonna
That's the
hold that
same
one.
thing I say about, here. I'm like, don't blame us.
Yeah.
We just work here. Blame them.
Do you know what I'm hearing
Take the
from a lot
team.
of what I'm hearing from a lot of diehard Panthers fans within my friend group is that they say that they believe it's time for the college coaching experiment to come to an end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And that seems to be a strong thought in many regards. But I don't know the answers. I'm a Panthers fan, but I've never been a diehard Panthers fan. I just like football as a whole. And of course,
Right.
I'm going to cheer for the Panthers because they're
Your
our
home team.
Carolina team, home
Yeah.
team. So, I just kind of, while I don't really have a dog in the fight, I just kind of sit back and try to take it in. But that's what I'm hearing from a lot of diehard fans. They're kind of tired of this college coaching experience.
Interesting. So that's why it was in the middle of us, because we were both like, yeah.
You got some rocky.
So I'm good over here.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I'm so glad
good.
you are.
I'll
you
hang
have
out.
precious cargo.
I'm going to move over
Hang out
here now.
between this Christian and this Christian. And my son
Oh.
Christian at home, yeah.
Always
Three
in your time of
Christians.
need,
I
you
know, right?
realize who your real friends are. So let us know, what do you guys think about Christian McCaffrey's injury? And what do you think about where the team can go from here? Do we have some more games that we can pull out? We play Tampa Bay?
Off this week, and then we play
Yeah, we have a bye this week, and then we play the Buccaneers, right? After that?
Atlanta, I think.
Is it the
It's
Falcons?
Atlanta.
Oh,
I
is
think-
it?
yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. See?
Yeah,
In
well,
Charlotte.
NFC South matchup, so that's always a good game to watch.
Always a good one.
And didn't they win? No. They lost against Atlanta.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about the Saints.
Yeah, Panthers
They won against the Saints. Tricked us all.
The other thing, I think that these diehard fans, and your PSL owners and stuff, I think they just want the culture of a winning team, and they want that Panthers culture to come back to Charlotte. And obviously that was part of the reason to get Cam back. Not only, at that point, I don't think anybody thought he was going to come in and be the end-all, be-all. This is the 100% answer. They're going to win 100% of the rest of the games.
I think a lot of people did.
Really?
I do.
I just think that's seen through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. See, the screen's going out again. I'm going to stop talking. But I think, I think that Cam obviously was good to boost that morale back and get some of that culture and some of that excitement back in the Panthers. And now we need to be able to hold it, right? So we've got to reassess all this and figure out what's going on so we can win games.
Right. And not many left.
There's not many left.
We do have a month of play, so.
Just do the best you can for the rest of the year and reassess and change it up next year.
Just need to get some forward momentum going into next year. This year was supposed to be a year of newness, a year of resetting and refreshing, and kind of the players getting to jive after all the changes that happened last year. And we're still kind of working through the kinks, it seems.
And when somebody like Christian McCaffrey gets hurt early on, it really just kind of kicks the wind out of your sails a little bit,
Yeah, it does. All right, so I was just reading here. Gina was asking about the Pilot Mountain fire. She'd like an update. So why don't we do that as we are doing weather, and then we'll close out.
Yep. So obviously we have good news this morning from fire officials that some good progress was made overnight in the Pilot Mountain fires. Of course, they do continue to burn, and as of last check last night, about 573 acres had been burned. So we'll get an official statement later this morning and an update on exactly how much more than that has burned since last night. But of course, like they said, they made good progress on the fires. Likely some of that was contributed to the fact that the wind died down overnight. Of course, the bad news is that the wind will kick back up again today, and we really don't have any beneficial rain in the 7-day forecast. We stay dry, we stay a bit gusty at times throughout the rest of the week, and we are headed for a warming trend. So today, the last day of November, triad weather, we are rounding out the month on a mild note, and we start December on a pretty mild note, just above average as we kick off a brand new month. We're near 60 for Wednesday, mid 60s on Thursday. This is a Mega Malaris day on Friday, 70 degrees and sunshine, nice and warm. That's a comfortable day of weather. That's the tip top of the roller coaster. After that, we come back down mid 60s on Saturday. I still think that's a perfect day of weather. Personally, I like the mid 60s. Saturday, a good day of weather, and then we get back to the 50s to round out the weekend and start next week. And notice there are some rain chances, although they are very low. And anything we get out of those couple systems that head our way early next week will likely, the way I see it now, be less than 1/4 of an inch of rain. So that's not going to make a big dent in the improvement that we need.
But it seems like several of our viewers have tuned in late, so they missed our earlier discussion about Pilot Mountain. So just to recap here, crews say they've made good progress overnight. Christian said largely in part because the wind died down a bit, so they have those containment lines established. They are feeling like they're able to get this fire under control, that they have a handle on it. So we'll see what happens today, but they're continuing to bring water in by airplane, and they're working to combat this, of course, before any homes or land at the base of the mountain are at risk. So this still continues to be our top story. We are on top of it. We have a live presence out there. Itanese had said she can still see the haze, smell the smoke, which will continue to be factors today as well.
I also mentioned, Itanese talking about her being able to see and smell that smoke. A lot of folks yesterday into some of the triad areas were starting to see and smell that smoke as well. We had a northwest wind yesterday, so it was blowing it kind of south of the fire. Today we have a southwest wind, which will blow that smoke off to the north and east. So places like Stokes County, Rockingham County, likely Southside Virginia will start to see and smell some of that smoke today. And then that will persist for them over the next couple days as our winds and our weather pattern don't really change a whole lot.
All right, well, you are now up to date as things change throughout the day. You can find the latest updates on WFMYnews2.com. We've got to get out of here, folks, but we've had so much fun talking with you, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.
See you.